In today's lesson, you will learn how to master 3 new English terms. The first one is frustrate. Then we'll have garnish, and finally we'll have grimace. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. Our very first term is the term frustrate. Again, frustrate. After me, last time, frustrate. Excellent. Now, this term frustrate just means to annoy someone or cause someone to be disappointed or discouraged. Again, to annoy someone for this aspect of the definition. Think about an older brother and a younger brother. The older brother is 17 and the younger brother is 11. The older brother wants to hang out with his friends, but he always has to bring his younger brother, and he feels annoyed. Why? His younger brother is always whining and complaining, and that frustrates him. That annoys him. You caught it, right? Excellent. So again, this term frustrate means to annoy someone or cause someone to be disappointed or discouraged. Here's the first example sentence. The student's indifference frustrated the teacher's efforts to help him. The student's indifference, not caring about school at all, frustrated, annoyed the teacher. The teacher was going above and beyond trying to help the student, and it seemed like the student did not care. So again, the student's indifference frustrated the teacher's efforts to help him. Our next example sentence is, people are frustrated with the politicians. People are disappointed. People are annoyed. People aren't happy with the politicians. They're not doing what they promised. People are, once again, frustrated with the politicians. And our last example sentence, it frustrates me that I'm not able to put any of my ideas into practice. It annoys me, it discourages me that I'm not able to put any of my ideas. I have such big plans, but nothing seems to be working. I am frustrated. So, once again, it frustrates me that I'm not able to put any of my ideas into practice. Makes sense, right? Okay, now it's time for us to actually see how we can use this term in a sentence. So here's an example sentence structure. We have it frustrates, then we have a blank section for the person, when, and then finally enter the situation. So we have it frustrates, then we have insert a person, when, and then insert a situation. So let's get some examples to see how you can use this actual structure in real life. All right, so our first example, let's say for the person, let's say me. All right, so we're gonna put me for the person, and then for the situation, let's say technology doesn't work. Think about it. We are so used to using the internet and our computers and our cell phones, but when technology doesn't work, how do you feel? You feel frustrated, you feel annoyed, right? So here we have the sentence now, using the first example, all right? We have, it frustrates me when technology doesn't work. We have the person being me, and we have the situation being technology doesn't work. Makes sense, right? Let's check out another example using this sentence structure for the first term, frustrate. Let's see, for the person, this time let's say it is students. All right, so we have students. And then for the situation, we are going to say that it is when instructions are unclear. All right, instructions are unclear. Think about a situation that would cause a student to be frustrated, to be annoyed, or discouraged. So Now we have the second example sentence, okay? So we did the first one. Now our second one using the structure is, it frustrates students when instructions are unclear. It's making sense, right? We're just changing the person or the individuals and then the situation. Let's do one more. Okay? So for our final example, using this sentence structure, I want the person to be represented by managers. So we have multiple people. We're going to say managers. And now we need to have a situation in which managers would be frustrated. So we're going to say deadlines are missed. All right? So we have deadlines are missed. This is a situation when managers would be upset, frustrated. Here we go. Looking at the structure, using our third example set, it frustrates managers when deadlines are missed. Makes sense, right? So now you have this sentence structure for the term frustrate. Makes sense? Excellent. Last time after me for this term. Frustrate. Excellent. All right, now we're going to move to our second term. Our second term is garnish. Garnish. Again, after me, garnish. Excellent. Now, this term garnish, it just refers to decorating or embellishing something, specifically or especially food. Decorating it, making it look pretty. For example, my mother, when she cooks very well. When she cooks, sometimes she'll add parsley on top or some type of seasoning that doesn't have a lot of taste, but it looks very pretty on top. Why? To garnish, to decorate, to embellish, to make it look nice. In English, we say garnish. Make sense? Excellent. All right. So here's the first example sentence. The salad has been garnished beautifully with thin orange slices. Imagine you have a salad and it's beautiful already, but then the individual, the chef, the cook decides to get thin orange slices and lay them strategically in a beautiful pattern on top of the salad, garnishing the salad. So once again, the salad has been garnished beautifully with thin orange slices. Here's our next example sentence. Garnish the dish with lemon wedges. Again, we have our dish. We want it to look pretty. We want to decorate it. So what are we doing? Garnish the dish with lemon wedges. Find some lemon wedges and put them in a certain pattern on the dish. So once again, garnish the dish with lemon wedges. And finally, garnish the dish with parsley before serving. Again, garnish, decorate that dish with parsley before you serve it to anyone. Make it look really pretty. Once again, garnish the dish with parsley before serving. Makes sense, right? Excellent. All right, now it's time for us to look at a sentence structure, a pattern that you can use in order to use this term in real life. So again, our term is garnish. And our sentence structure is right here, okay? So we have A, or the first section being the person. You're going to write a person. The fixed section is going to be the term garnished. Then we have the second section, B, being food. So first A is the empty section. You're going to add a person's name or an individual. Garnished. Then we have B, enter the food item, with, and finally C being the ingredient. So we have three empty spaces in this sentence structure, A, B, C. A is the person, B is the food item, and C is the ingredient. So we have A garnished, B with C. All right, if you're listening, hopefully you're following along. All right. So let's get started with the first example. All right, the first example. For the person, let's say for garnishing, we are going to say the person is the chef, all right? For our first example, we are going to say letter A, or the person is the chef. Then for letter B, or the food item, we are going to say the steak, all right? The steak. We're just adding the information right now. We're not writing the sentence just yet. So we have A, the chef, B, the steak. Now we need C, the ingredient that it was garnished with. We're going to say with parsley, all right? So we're going to put parsley, all right? So now our first example sentence using this structure is, the chef garnished the steak with parsley. Simple, right? Again, the chef garnished the steak with parsley. Excellent, excellent job. All right, let's do 2 more examples using this sentence structure. Here's the second example, all right? Our second example for the person, letter A, we're going to say I. Speaking about yourself, but I, okay? So we're going to put I. Then for the food item, we're going to select the drink. So it can be food or drink. We're going to say drink, all right? So I'm going to change this right here to the category of food or beverage, okay? We want to make a fancy lemonade, all right? So we have the second one being, again, I garnished, B, the drink. And then for the ingredient, we're going to say lemon slices, all right? Lemon slices, all right? So our second example sentence using this structure is, I garnished the drink with lemon slices. Makes sense, right? Simple sentence structure, and now you're able to use the word in real life. Now, let's do one last example using this sentence structure. For letter A, or the person, we're going to say she, all right? So let's put she. Then for the B, or the food or beverage, we're going to put the dish, all right? The dish. And then for letter C, or the ingredient, we're going to put with mint leaves, all right? So we're going to put mint leaves, okay? So our third example sentence is, she garnished the dish with mint leaves. Again, she garnished the dish with mint leaves. Makes sense, right? Excellent. All right, so now you understand our second term and how to use it in real life. This takes us to our third term. Our third term is grimace. Again, grimace. Last time after me, grimace. Excellent. Now, this term grimace just means an ugly, twisted expression on a person's face, typically expressing disgust, pain, or wry amusement. So grimace, think about when you're in pain and you squinch up your face and your expression doesn't look happy. It doesn't look comfortable. You're grimacing, oh, this is painful, or oh, I don't like that. You are grimacing. Again, it's an ugly, twisted expression on a person's face, typically expressing disgust, pain, or wry amusement. Here's the first example sentence. The young lady grimaced in pain as she waited to hear the test results from her MRI. She's laying there, she's nervous, she's not really sure what the doctor's going to say. She grimaced. So once again, the young lady grimaced in pain as she waited to hear the test results from her MRI. Next, he grimaced in pain as the surgeon removed his bandages. He's sitting there and the surgeon is removing his bandages, but it's uncomfortable and his facial expression keeps changing. He is grimacing. Once again, He grimaced in pain as the surgeon removed his bandages. And finally, he tried to stand and grimaced with pain. He tried to stand up, but it was painful. Once again, he tried to stand and grimaced with pain. Makes sense, right? Okay, now let's check out an example sentence structure using this word. Again, the word is grimace, and our sentence structure is A, or person, grimaced when B. B being a painful situation. So we have two blank parts of this sentence structure. The first being A, the person, and the second being B, a painful situation. So let's come up with some examples for this one. So let's try for our first example to use the term or the person being the boy. All right. So we're going to say for our first one, we have the boy. And for the painful situation, we're going to say he fell off his bike. All right. So for the painful situation, he fell off his bike. He fell off his bike. That's the painful situation. All right. So now the sentence is, the boy grimaced when he fell off his bike. The boy grimaced when he fell off his bike. Makes sense, right? Excellent. All right. Now let's go to our second example. Again, letter A being the person. For this one, let's say she. And for the painful situation, let's say the dentist found a cavity. All right? The dentist found a cavity. Not a happy situation. All right? So now our sentence becomes, she grimaced when the dentist found a cavity. You got it? Excellent. All right. Now we're going to go to our last example for this sentence structure. Let's say for the person, it's going to be people. We're going to say they. All right. And then for the painful situation, we'll say heard the scratching noise. All right. Heard the scratching noise. Okay. When they heard, the scratching noise. Maybe someone was scratching their fingernails across the blackboard. All right. So here's the sentence. They grimaced when they heard the scratching noise. You got it? Excellent. So now you understand the term and also the sentence structure. So we've had 3 terms in our lesson today. We started with frustrate, then you learned garnish, and finally you learned grimace. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will talk to you next time.